Hello, YouTubers and NFL fans everywhere. This is Matt, the NFL Fanatic, with my 2014-2015 Championship Weekend predictions. Well, last week, for the second straight week, I went 3-1, and now overall for the postseason, I am 6-2 in my predictions, and overall for the year, I'm 175, 87, and 1. So that equals up to about 67% for all the games, which I am very happy with. What a crazy divisional weekend it was. So many phenomenal storylines came out of every game. You know, it was incredible to watch. Let's talk about the Baltimore-New England game for a second. As a Baltimore Raven fan, as you can see with my Baltimore Raven fatheads, I saw the game, and I was a bit disappointed. But after the way we played against the New England Patriots, we should have lost. Because if you are letting Tom Brady dink and dunk down the field, you're never going to win a game. You're supposed to get pressure on Brady, and we had to eventually try to put a man on their receivers. Could we have done that against Gronkowski? No way. Rob Gronkowski would have just ran up the seam, and I know maybe a lot of people think maybe that's why we didn't play man-to-man. But we should have, because we couldn't just let Brady dinking and dunking, The Patriots secondary, passed on Baltimore. It's kind of like Dunkin' Donuts. Dinking and Dunkin' Donuts is what they did. But though, our defense, though, for the most part, we only held them to 13 runs. Again, maybe that was strategy, but kudos to them. I also thought, though, that, we did put up 31 points, and I didn't think we put up that many points. And Joe Flacco, again, had another solid postseason game. Not one of his best, because he did throw 2 interceptions. He did end up throwing the interception to cost us the game. But in the whole scheme of things, I'm not really blaming Flacco for that much. Because at the same time, even though he did throw us the game-losing interception, he did drive the offense down the field for enough for 31 points. Even though, again, I kind of do wish Owen Daniels could have caught that ball. But again, nothing against the Patriots. They did a tremendous job. And they absolutely earned their spot in their 4th AFC Championship game, 9th under Bill Belichick. Tom Brady gets his 19th win in the postseason, which continues to extend his lead as the most winningest postseason quarterback of all time. And for Bill Belichick, he gets his 20th postseason win, which ties him with the great Tom Landry. So congratulations. And also for Tom Brady, he passed Joe Montana for the most touchdown passes in postseason history with 47. So congratulations to the Patriots for that. And congrats to the Ravens for a great year. Now a few days to think about it. I never thought we would be in the divisional round. I didn't think we'd be the last AFC North team standing. So for us, we'd have a lot of good things to smile about. But we know that there is a lot of work that we can do to build to get back to the Super Bowl. Seattle and Carolina, this was just the most lopsided game of the weekend. It was, Russell Wilson making great plays, Jermaine Kersman in the one-handed grab, and just like Seattle's defense just shut down Carolina's offense in that second half. And again, Cam Chancellor had the game of his life. He had the greatest field goal block attempt I have ever seen, with him literally hurtling over the entire line without touching none of them, which is incredibly scary. But, I just look at the Seattle team, and I have to go, Green Bay has a heck of a challenge that they have to go through, because this Seattle team is motivated, they are pumped, and they are firing on all cylinders. They have Marshawn Lynch running the ball well. They have all the receivers making plays enough with Russell Wilson giving them the ball, and that defense is shutting down receivers left and right. Even though I do feel bad for Paul Richardson, best of luck to him with his torn ACL. We will see him next year. Okay, now the big game. That's my thoughts on Green Bay and Dallas. It was an incredibly even game. I enjoyed it. Dallas put all their heart out there. They played an excellent football game. In fact, they played the second most efficient football game of the year in Green Bay, besides the New England Patriots. And ironically, both of those scores ended up the same, at being 26-21 Green Bay. But I know, and I will give my thoughts on everybody, on the play that everybody has been talking about in the sports world for the last 2 days, and that is the Dez Bryant touchdown catch. For all my viewers out there, and, again, this might be me being a stickler or, not saying the right thing, but I actually do believe that the referees made the right call. I'm going to repeat that again. The referees, to me, made the right call. Okay? because when you look at Des Bryant, even though, again, he does everything right, and he made a phenomenal play, a big-time play, as he is going down to the ground, okay, he is not executing a football move. Even though, again, you may have thought he is trying to lunge towards the end zone. No, he's still falling, okay? He didn't stumble and pick himself back up. He was falling down, and as he was trying to get to the end zone, he needed the ball hit the turf. And any time, to me, and again, depending on if you think it's falling or not, you know, and that's very debatable. From what I know watching football, once the ball hits the turf and you're trying to go to the ground with the ball for a catch, that is an incomplete pass. Okay? This is the Calvin Johnson rule, the whole process of the catch. Again, you know, do we need to really maybe rethink about it? Yeah, you know, there is a good, you know, idea of maybe rethinking the rule. I definitely agree with that. But if they don't, that rule has been in the game for the last few years, and it's been called very consistently. And actually, it was a rule that was supposed to help, help easily more define the game. But it hasn't. It's made more controversy. But I do think, though, the referees did get the right call. But also, here's the thing, though. I think a lot of people also don't realize there was no guarantee that the Green Bay Packers, or the Cowboys defense, was going to stop the bad man, as Stephen A. Smith says on First Take, Aaron Rodgers. Okay, because there was still 4 minutes left. A little bit under 5 minutes left in the game. I think Aaron Rodgers could have at least gotten a field goal to at least taking the lead. Even if they got a 2-point conversion, it would have been a tie game. Because just seeing what Devontae Adams did, 6 receptions, 100 yards, you know, he made some big plays. It definitely was a very impressive performance and an X-Factor performance that they needed. So that's the thing, though. A lot of Cowboy fans feel like they would have won the game, or they would have gotten robbed of the game if they would have, you know, got the touchdown. I don't think so. I think it's kind of like what you guys said about Detroit. Did you guys get robbed? And maybe the general, more people, the general public might say yes. I don't, but more people would say yes. But that's not all on the game. Okay, it's not all in the game. There was still 4 minutes to go. You still had a chance to get Rodgers to stop, and you still had a chance to get Tony Romo to get the ball. Even though, again, DeMarco Murray did fumble the ball, which was huge because he could have probably got a touchdown and several other miscues. But the Dallas Cowboys, though, overall, should be very proud of themselves for what they did this year. They were the surprise of the year. If you would have told me the Dallas Cowboys would go 12-4, win the NFC East, and win a playoff game, and play the second-best game at Lambeau Field, I would have probably laughed all year, saying that is never going to happen. So this Dallas Cowboy team has earned a tremendous amount of respect and credibility back on that star. I feel that this team is going to be the NFC East front runner. I think they deserve it. And I also think they will be a good playoff team. And they even could be, once again, a Super Bowl contender. That's how much respect I will give back to this team for the year they have with the pieces they have. Again, they have to worry about DeMarco Murray and Des Bryant through free agency. Rolando McClain as well. They got to worry about their coordinators, both their offensive, Scott Linehan and Bill Callahan, along with their defensive, Monty Kiffin, all being free agents. And I've heard Monty Kiffin connected to Tampa Bay, reuniting him with Lovie Smith. I've heard Scott Linehan going to Oakland. I've heard Bill Callahan going to Oakland. So, you know, I've heard a lot of different names. But the Dallas Cowboys are back in playoff contention, and they are back to a very respectable team in the National Football League. So bravo to you, Dallas Cowboys, and you Dallas Cowboys fans should be very proud of your team, because now there are no more 8-8 jokes. There are no more accident waiting to happen jokes. There is nothing of that. It's a clean slate for everybody in that division. And finally, Indy and Denver. It's the fall for Peyton Manning again. 9th one and done. And it continues to show that Peyton Manning is one of the biggest overall, disappointments in sports history, even in, professional sports. If you would have told me that this man has 5 MVPs, 14, All-Star game appearances, he has the touchdown record for football, he has almost the passing yard record for football, he has almost all these records and all these accolades, but yet he can't win a playoff game. He's the only quarterback in NFL history to have a Super Bowl ring and a losing record. And now the Denver Broncos have to realize they have spent $54 million on a man that's only got them 2 playoff wins. So $27 million a playoff win. That's a lot of money. I wouldn't, think that'd be that great of a deal. But again, though, Peyton Manning, as I heard, was playing with a torn right quad. So again, you could say he's losing his velocity. But again, it just continues to show that this guy does not show up in playoff games, and he is, to me, one of the biggest disappointments in sports history. That when you say a number 1 pick, and you say all the regular stuff, he should have way more accolades in the postseason, more championship game appearances, more championship game wins, and not that many one-and-done appearances. He should have, what's funny, the 9 one-and-dones are equivalent to the 9 AFC championship games Bill Belichick has been in. So, people that want to argue Manning and Brady, think about that for a second. The number of one-and-dones are probably about the number of AFC championship games Tom Brady has been in. Okay, think about that. 9 one-and-dones compared to 9 AFC title games. Again, Tom Brady has never, he's not won on 9 of those. But at least he's been in them. He's always been at least a step away from getting back to the Super Bowl. And again, more often than not, he gets there. Manning does not. And that's the one thing. I trust Joe Flacco, Andrew Luck, a lot of quarterbacks over Peyton Manning in a postseason game. To Andrew Luck for a second, kudos to him. This is the ascension of his career. This was a big-time statement and very poetic. Because now I feel that Andrew Luck is on the verge of being better than Peyton Manning. He has worked with a lot more. He's worked with about the same amount of receiving core. And he's worked with the same kind of defense and the limited running game. And he's gotten his team each year further in the playoffs. This man has had 3 straight 11-5 seasons. Chuck Pagano is now only the 2nd coach in NFL history to start his first 3 years with 3 straight 11-win seasons. The other one being, of course, the one that recently got fired from San Francisco, Jim Harbaugh. So this team has risen each year, and it's incredibly impressive because I also feel he's got a Pete Carroll-type momentum. Every year, this team gets better. This team wins playoff games, they get in, and it just continues to build. And that's the thing, is that there is no pressure on Andrew Luck and this team to beat the New England Patriots because they've already moved forward. And if I was a Colts fan, I'd say, hey, we got to the AFC Championship game this year. We still have a very bright future ahead of us, and we will get a few Super Bowls with this Andrew Luck guy and this team. But, they have to focus on the game. And speaking of the games, time for my picks. This Sunday on Championship Weekend, when the number 2 seeded Green Bay Packers go to the number 1 seeded Seattle Seahawks, I'm going to take the Seattle Seahawks for the NFC champion. And then in the AFC, when the 4 seeded Indianapolis Colts go to the number 1 seeded New England Patriots, I'm going to take the New England Patriots. Well, on my former account, Reactive63, my Super Bowl prediction was Denver and Seattle. So for the 3rd straight year, I didn't get it right. But unfortunately, for the first time in the last 2 years, I didn't get to this round and didn't have a chance. The other 2 years, I had both those teams in the championship games, but either one of them didn't win or they didn't, But that's a different story. I had Denver and Seattle originally before the year started. For everybody out there, watch Rack 2, and you'll hear me say that. So I was wrong. But so my Super Bowl pick will be New England and Seattle. All right, time for my thoughts on each game. This is a very interesting game. You have a 8-1 Seattle Seahawks team at home against a 4-4 Green Bay Packer team on the road. Aaron Rodgers threw for about 296 yards and 3 touchdowns. Very impressive, especially on one leg. But that was at home. He's basically unstoppable at home. He's thrown about 28 touchdowns and no interceptions at home. The last time he threw an interception was December of 2012 at home. So it's been a long time since he threw one at home. But on the road, a different story. On ESPN, there's a QBR stat. At home, he had a QBR of 93. On the road, he has a QBR of 70. Again, 70 is not a bad QBR, but compared to 93, that is a drop. This Green Bay Packer team is 4-4 on the road. They lost to, of course, Seattle 36-16. They lost to New Orleans 42-21. They lost to Buffalo, and they lost to Buffalo and Detroit 19-7. And that was just kind of one of those off days for that team. But I'm going to take Seattle because I feel that the one advantage that Russell Wilson has is mobility that Rodgers is not going to be able to use. Because Rodgers, he scrambled a little bit, but he wasn't like Aaron Rodgers. He wasn't trying to run. He wasn't extending or striding the way that people know Aaron Rodgers can do. But also, I just know that I don't know how often he's going to go to Sherman or if he doesn't do it at all. And I just feel that with that limited kind of offense, even though, again, Devontae Adams, I think, again, will be another huge X factor because after Sherman, they don't want Browner. So Byron Maxwell or Terrell Simon will be the other corner. And that'll be the corner they'll try to use to expose. For me, I look at this and go, Seattle's offensive line and running game were strong, and they bullied the Packers. And I can see the same thing happening. And also, I just feel that Russell Wilson and this team is just playing at a much higher level. The corners aren't as good, and I think even though, again, Seattle doesn't have nearly good receivers as Green Bay does, I just feel that they have enough receivers with the quarterback they have to make plays. And that defense will put them on their backs and carry them to their second straight Super Bowl. I think the game can be competitive, but with Rodgers being not 100%, his calf still being strained, he's not going to have as much mobility, and I don't think he'll be able to get away with that with the Seattle secondary and the Seattle defense, and that'll be the difference. So again, it should be a great game. I'm interested. Can Seattle get to their second straight Super Bowl and become the first team since the 97-98 Packers to go back-to-back Super Bowls for the NFC, or will Green Bay get to their second Super Bowl in the last 5 years? 11, 20, 12, 20, last 5 years. But again, that's why I'm taking Seattle over Green Bay. And then lastly, New England and Indy. This was fairly easy. I've seen Andrew Luck in New England. He has done very bad. 4 interceptions last time. I think he's thrown about 7 interceptions overall at home. I think he's thrown like 9 in the 3 games he's had. They've been blown out each time. It's Brady, it's Blunt. They have no running game, and they'll stop that. And they'll use their secondary and make them have to run. And I just don't expect Boom Herron or Tipton to be that big of a force. I think Brady has their secondary. They have bigger and badder receivers that they can bully around. And also, I just feel that the advantage again for them is their running game. They killed them the last time. Jonas Gray had 204 yards rush. The undrafted rookie out of Notre Dame killed him. I think they'll use him, and they'll use LeGarrette Blount, and they'll use Marine, and they'll just keep pounding. Because I just heard on the TV just a couple seconds ago, and it's a very accurate point. There is no team in the NFL that goes to a game plan to utilize to exploit a weakness and hide their strength than the New England Patriots. So they know that their run game isn't good. So they're gonna let them say, hey, go ahead and run, but don't pass. And for Indy, they're gonna you're gonna try to beat them through the ground, and that's why they have the guys to do it. I think Andrew Luck, again, he's Andrew Luck. I'm going to give him a chance in this one. But just knowing how inexperienced he is, knowing what the Colts have done with the Patriots in Foxborough over the years, especially with Peyton Manning and Andrew Luck, there is just no way I'm not going to take the Patriots to win this game. So those are my championship game predictions. So again, my Super Bowl will be the New England Patriots going to the Seattle Seahawks. Tell me what you guys think. Like, comment, if anybody has any questions, put them in the comments section. If anybody has any arguments or disagreements, please put them in the comment section. I love talking about the NFL with my fans. And that's it. So best of luck to all players and all the teams and any playoff fantasy players and fellow prognosticators. And that's it. So until next week when I give my Super Bowl 49 thought and prediction, this is Matt the NFL Fanatic signing off. Till then, so long.